All right, before we bring Jared into the show, I want to read a little bit about Jared. Most of you guys know who he is, but before we bring in him, I want to give him the proper introduction that he deserves. So Jared James has become one of the most followed people in real estate today on places like Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Snapchat, LinkedIn, and his popular podcast Today with Jared James. Because of his no-nonsense advice, motivation, and real-world sales tips and videos, he's an in-demand speaker, entrepreneur, and author of the book, Get Out of Your Way. He is the founder of Jarja James Enterprises, one of the largest coaching companies in North America, and Jarja Media, one of the fastest growing marketing companies in our industry. Jared doesn't just talk about how to succeed in real estate. In his previous career as a realtor, he built one of the largest and fastest growing teams in the USA, earning him a spot in Realtor Magazine's elusive 30 Under 30 edition. To get his message out, Jared speaks all over the world to tens of thousands of professionals every year and was even named one of Risk Media's top newsmakers and one of the top 25 most influential people in our industry today. That is Jared James, and we're going to have a great conversation with him. Let's go ahead and welcome Jared into this show. Jared, come on in, buddy.
What's going on, man? How you
Doing,
man?
How's it going, man?
Good, man. How you guys doing? Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it. It's
absolutely. Thanks for coming in.
And I want to meet that guy.
Yeah.
They say the best way to have a great bio is write your own. So
yeah, that's absolutely true. Well, that's a good one, man. But the thing about it is, it's all true. That's how I first met you down at the Central 21 121 conference down in Orlando. So that's where we first met. And man, you were on fire that day. It was awesome.
I can't wait to do it again, man. I can't wait. I'm actually back to doing events and stuff. Different states, different countries will do it. But I can't wait till everybody gets back. And, you know, these are nice, Zoom and virtuals and everything. But, man, there's something about, you know, those live events, the networking. And I can't wait to get back to that.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. It has been an interesting time to say the least, isolation. But you're right. I think if we did this about 5-10 years ago, and we didn't have Zoom and the abilities to do what we're even doing right now, man, what a completely different landscape.
Look at you, man. Look at the mic you're using. I mean, you're showing me up a phone like it's 1997, and you're over there with that professional camera, professional mic. I mean, who should be?
Yeah. Yeah, well, hey, man, you usually have a killer setup, though. So you got to be on the road, man. You got to work.
Oh, yeah. We've seen your office. It's beautiful.
Yeah, that's a fake. That's just a Zoom background.
Yeah, not true. We see people walking around all the time, man.
Yeah, you can always tell when someone has a Zoom background because their head all of a sudden disappears and their right arm goes away and it just disappears into the background. Somehow that's a great option.
Oh, that's good. Hey, but man, before we get into like the actual just conversation, we always like to do a little bit of just a rapid fire question, quick answer, just to let the audience kind of know you a little bit more. Although they already do. I mean, your bio was killer. So, but let's do a little bit of rapid fire question. You good with that?
Okay. Sure, man. Let's go.
All right. So I'm an avid reader. What are you currently reading?
So I actually don't read a lot of books. You know the leaders are readers line that you've heard for a long time. Leaders are learners. Okay, so in today's world, man, I'm a podcast. I'm an interview. I'm that guy. So what was the last book? The last book I read was a few weeks ago. I read Profit First.
Oh yeah,
I listened to.
Yeah, Mike Markowitz, is that right? I think he's the writer of that one. Is that right?
I forget who the author was.
I've read that book. It's really good.
Yeah, it was really good. It was interesting stuff. But that was probably the last one. I don't read a lot of like self-help. It sounds bad because I write books, but I don't really read a lot of self. They all say the same thing. I mean, how many times can we say control the things that you can control and stop worrying about the ones that you can't? Like, I get it. Got it. You know, so I like interviews, man. I like to hear from real people. I like to hear from successful people. It takes a lot for me to now pick up a book.
Yeah, I can understand that completely.
Yes.
So, Jared, what's one of your hidden talents?
That's a good question. I'm like Rain Man with math. When I was in high school, if I wanted to use the restroom, I had to square 27, which is 729. Yeah, that's probably my hidden. I don't share that too often, but yeah, it's kind of freakish.
That's right.
That's awesome.
It's really weird, guys. Yeah.
Yeah. So, what was your first job?
Oh God. What do you count as a job? I mean, I remember helping the lady next door do stuff around her house to make money, taking stuff out and everything. But first job, I don't know, maybe Kmart. I don't know.
Kmart?
I should probably know this, but maybe Kmart, maybe something like that. I had a couple jobs at my first job. I worked a few different places at once for $5 an hour. No, I'm
Not
sorry.
very good money.
$4.25 an hour. $4.25 an hour.
425, not even 5.
Nope, $4.25. Because I remember getting a raise to $5 and thinking, after this week, I'll never have to work again. I made so much money. So yeah.
Good deal.
So Jared,
Yeah.
what's one thing that your mother or father taught you that changed your life?
My God, that's a heavy question that changed
It
my
is.
life. That changed my life. I'd have to think about that changed my life, but I can tell you one thing I learned from them is promptness. I am never late. Like if I'm on time, I'm late. It drives people around me nuts. I plan, I make sure that I'm very regimented like that. So change my life, I'd have to think about, because that's a deep question.
Yeah, it's a big
But
one.
I will tell you,
Sure.
yeah, from them I learned that regimented. My schedule will literally put 7-minute meetings in my calendar. I'm very regimented.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, it's good. Well, let's transition now into your enterprise and what you've done. And let's start off with just kind of tell our audience the story. Basically, who you were before becoming the coach that you are and the trainer and the author, and how that journey went for you.
Yeah, man, I'm the same guy I've always been. I'm purebred entrepreneur. Everybody says that. That's a popular thing today, but I'm legitimately, I still to this day, I'm not just a speaker. Like I run around telling people what they should do. I operate. I run multiple businesses. And so, I was in the real estate industry and did extremely well. Was one of the top agents in the country, and got asked by a local publisher out of New York to write a book. And I say local, I guess New York is really not, that's a big city, but it's near me. And then just started getting asked by places to come speak at events, first locally, then nationally, then internationally, and just grew very quickly and built a coaching program, which is now one of the largest coaching programs for real estate agents in North America. From there, we built a marketing company, which has become one of the fastest growing. We built our own CRM software. We've now built our own transaction management company for agents. I'm purebred entrepreneur, man. And it's one of the things that drives me nuts about agents is that they don't think like that enough. They get into real estate because, they're entrepreneurial and they want to succeed or fail based on what they do. And then literally all they do is create a job for themselves and continue to live paycheck to paycheck. And just get by and completely fail in the potential gap as far as where they should be. And so, for the people that watch me and the people that follow me and the people that, one thing I'd like for them to get to me is not just what's a tactic to create a listing. I always tell people, watch what I'm actually doing. When it comes to, running businesses and running enterprises and using your businesses to fund the other things that you're passionate about. That's the part I don't think agents really take advantage of enough. They just think that they're commission to commission to commission their whole lives. It's like the next tip, like getting that closing.
Well, I honestly, I think you kind of hit something, and I've been watching a lot of the interviews and stuff that you have done, and I found it kind of interesting that a lot of it is kind of the question they ask a lot is like, how do I get this listing? How do I grow this business? And that's all necessary. But what do you do when you start making money and you operate from like a legacy mindset and you start trying to get to that next level? How do you take what you've earned now and invest and develop systems that you can replicate in other industries and so forth? It sounds like that's kind of what you've done.
Those are the questions I like to talk about. That's what gets me excited, right? I did a podcast the other day, and I talked about my kids and their friends, and I talked about how I was getting ready to buy a new car, and my kids and their friends, all they cared about was what the next car was going to be. You got to get this car, you got to get that car, and I stopped them and I said, hey guys, you need to be more interested in why I'm able to buy that car. You need to be more interested in what I'm listening to when I'm in that car than what car it is.
Right.
I said, if you're more impressed by the car than you are what I'm listening to in it, that gets me to the place where I'm able to buy that car, you're going to peak in high school. And I'm like, and you don't want to peak in high school. That sounds great right now because you want to be cool, but nobody wants to peak in high school. Nobody wants to Al Bundy, And so those are the things I like to talk about. I was telling them the other day, and I'm like, that dopamine release that you get from, buying stuff, like when agents get commissions and they go buy stuff and they buy clothes and they buy a new car and there's a dopamine release. That's cool. That's great. It feels good. You get that same release when you go buy stocks, when you go invest in a company, it's the same exact dopamine release. The only difference is now you're investing in assets that are actually going to continue to grow over time, whereas those jeans aren't going to be cool in 18 months. And that's the side of the business that not enough people think about is the financial side and the running business side and all of that stuff like that. That's the stuff that I think people need to get more intrigued by instead of what's my next car.
Yeah, no, I think that's absolutely true. I really do.
So for an agent who has been running their business that way, the focusing and the next deal, how do they transition to, what steps would you advise that they take to kind of transition that business?
Okay, so first off, based on the answer I just gave, is you got to look at your lifestyle and figure out, are you living in a way that's going to allow you to invest back into your company, that's going to allow you to invest into other things that you're interested in, that's going to allow you, like, are you living in a world, your lifestyle, that's going to allow you to do that? It cracks me up when people tell me, oh, I really need help. I can't afford coaching. I really need help. I can't afford a CRM. I really need help. I can't afford to market on a regular basis. The only thing more expensive than consistent marketing is being invisible. Okay. Like that costs you a lot of money. Right. And so when someone tells me they don't have the money, they don't have whatever, I'm like, you got to go back and look at your lifestyle. Like if you actually looked at what you spend money on a regular basis in the last 6 months, that has no bearing on your life today, and it has no anything on your life today, and how much money you've wasted that you could have been investing back in yourself, that you could have been investing back into other things you're passionate about, that you could have been investing into your portfolio, it would depress you, So the first step is look at your lifestyle and start to question, do I need that or do I want that? Am I doing that for dopamine? And if so, that's fine. Let's acknowledge that. But there are other things that will release dopamine that actually turn into assets and actually grow your business and actually start to build out infrastructure and actually start to, and step one, by the way, I've been saying this it's the reason why I started a transaction management company. Every agent needs a TC, transaction coordinator. Like, we live in a different world now, guys. Like, you should not be doing that stuff, right? So the easy step is to do something like that, get a TC, start to learn to delegate, start to learn how to be a business owner instead of doing what everybody's doing now, which is just running around like crazy, trying to take care of everybody and do everything and be everything to everyone. That is not going to work. We are living through right now the Amazonization of the industry.
Yeah, you're right.
When you look at, Zillow buying showing time, and everybody gets up in arms and they're like, it's a data play. They're after more data. No, they're not. They're after the Amazonization of our industry, meaning, when you go on Amazon, it doesn't matter if it's 3:20 in the morning or if it's 3:20 in the afternoon, you can purchase whatever you want. It's 24/7. When you look at them buying something like showing time, that's an Amazon play. That's so that people can be viewing properties and at 2:14 in the morning be scheduling showings and doing, like, we need to think differently about how we do business.
Man, that's good. I think you're right. It really is a mindset. And I think you've also hit on a lot of points. It's like when you look at the industry too, you got this flooding of money into the technology industry. And there's a lot of people that are saying, hey, we're going to develop this tech for the real estate agent and that kind of stuff.
Yep.
And when you really get down to it, a lot of it can be a distraction from actually helping you to build that system. And really that's what technology is for. It's to help you build a system that you can replicate and use. So that's what the database is for, right? That's that number one system that we need to have in place in 2021.
Technology is here to free us up to do the things we should have been doing all along. Don't get it twisted. And guys, look, I'm pro technology. I built a CRM. Like, I invested millions of dollars and built a CRM. That's how much I mean. That's how much it means to me. But it is not there to turn on autoplay and forget what our industry is about. For all those people who are afraid of all the billions of dollars that are flooding into our industry from, venture capital and all these other places, you need to understand something. Like, when you look at the Zillows of the world and the Redfins of the world and all these different places, and you're worried about them stealing your clients, or you're worried about, whatever, like if your clients are your clients, they're not going and getting an agent on Zillow. They're not going and look, my wife isn't looking for a man on Tinder. She's taken. Like, it's not, you know what I'm saying? So I'm not worried. Right. I'm not like, oh my God, Tinder's getting popular. Holy crap. What am I going to do? Okay. Like, she's good. You know what I'm saying? And in the same way, all of you that are spending so much time scared to death about what's going on with the tech companies in our industry, why don't you pick up the phone and call your freaking customers? Like, why don't we actually have a plan for post-transaction so that we don't work with people for 6 months? They're our best friend ever. And then they close and we forget about them. You don't need to worry about them straying away if you just kept them in-house. If we just did our job and we used the technology to free us up to do the things we should have been doing all along. So the technology reminds us when we need to follow up, reminds us what we need to follow up about. Like, that's fantastic, but you still have to do something.
Yeah. That's right.
And by the way, I'm going to use that Tinder thing on the stage. I like that.
That was actually really good. Yeah. Great comparison, right? It's my wife finds value with me, therefore she's not looking anywhere else.
As I'm saying it, I'm going to myself, is this going to cancel me? Is this cancel culture going to hit me now because I'm using a Tinder example? I mean, you have to wonder in today's world.
Oh, sad but true.
Yeah.
But I think it passed the test. I like that. I'm going to write that down.
I think that's a keeper, man, for sure.
How many times have you gone to a real estate event and heard a good Tinder joke?
I don't think I ever have, to be honest. I
don't think so.
Zero. I'm gonna go with zero. I've never heard a good Tinder joke at a real estate event. That's getting put in the repertoire, no doubt.
Yeah. Well, so here's something for you too. So to me, 2020 kind of ushered in this video like revolution almost, right? It's like to 2019, all the conversation I had with agents is like, oh, I don't really want to do video. Oh, live video. They didn't want to get in front of the camera. Yeah. Then all of a sudden 2020 hits and you're forced into this new world. You got to get comfortable with it. Like, do you feel like that is something that's pretty much a necessity for agents? Like, they need to be doing video.
Stay-at-home moms are doing Zoom happy hours. Like, come on. Like, I mean, we still need to talk about, should you be doing video? I mean, duh. Like, we don't even have, like, when we, it's literally as dumb as, should I take a car to work or should I walk 15 miles? Like, duh. That's it. Video is, if you're still picking up the phone for the most part when you're meeting with people and you're calling them and you're doing this and you're doing whatever, like, no, this is connection. The fact that I literally don't care and just tell you guys, hey, I'm going to do this show. Hey, I'm just going to have my phone. I'm going to pick it up and they're going to see me and do whatever and not care. Like, that's the world we now live in. Like, that's the world your people are living in. That's the world you're living in. There is no more, I'm not comfortable in front of video. I don't look perfect. You look exactly like every other person that you're walking around in front of real life and that sees you. You look just like that when you look at the camera and the red light is on or the, whatever. Like, it's not even worth talking about anymore. It's just video. Yes. The answer is yes. It's yes to everything. Should I do video with this? Yes. Should I do video with that? Yes. Yes. Every single place that you can put video in, video should be there.
It is. And I think we've entered into an arena where we keep talking about content. We got to have content. We got to have content. Yeah. And that's what people are seeking with that personal person behind the camera. They want that connection. I think you're right. I think that's what they want.
Yeah, and just have a conversation. Look, I just talked to you this morning and I came up with a reference and a joke that I'm going to use for the next year. I didn't plan that. That's just, that happens from you just not caring and saying, I'm going to have a conversation. When you go into your conversations from day to day in real life, you don't stop and look at your notes first and go, then I'm going to go here, then I'm going to go here, and then they're going to say this and I'm going to go here. And then no, like, you just go. That's what makes you human, and that's what makes you relatable. Everything doesn't have to be perfect. Everything doesn't have to be. It's just got to be you. Like, that's what it comes down to. It's just got to be you, and that's the world we now live in, right? And that's what separates you from so many other agents. There's only one of you, so you might make bad jokes. You might, laugh awkwardly. You might. Whatever your thing is, that's what's going to draw people to you. And let's stop pushing away from that and start leaning into that.
That's
Yeah.
good.
Can you talk a little bit about the fear? That's what we hear. It's the fear of messing up on video, and there's a lot of fears in that agents come up against.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of fears in the world right now, so you can hop in a cocoon or, decide to be bubble boy, or you can, like, I mean, it's just, fear is not an excuse to not do something, right? Like, I want you to picture a world for a second where you never do anything that you're afraid of. First off, you wouldn't learn to walk. You would never learn to drive. You would never talk to somebody of the opposite sex. You would never, like, that is not an excuse. Everything great in your life usually came from the fact that you overcame some kind of a fear, and that's what makes it worth it,
Mm,
And so that is an excuse to me, is just like, yeah, on the other side of that is probably something really great.
yes.
And so you've got to change the meaning in your head of what that fear actually means. Fear actually means, like, holy crap, like something good might come from this. What an
Yeah.
exciting moment, because how many things do I do throughout the day that are just so freaking monotonous and mean nothing, and are not long standing, and now I've got an opportunity to do something that actually strikes a little fear and might mean something, and let's go after that. Again, let's lean into that.
Yeah.
But you're going to let fear stop you. I don't know if you've been around the last year, but there's a little bit of that in the world right now. Like,
Right.
it's like everyone is fear. Go turn on the TV. Fear, fear,
Right.
fear. Like,
Yeah. They're
everything
selling
is
it.
fear. So just lean into it.
Yeah.
Like, I feel bad for anybody right now that is fearful of fear, because
It's
out.
debilitating. Yeah. You
Dude,
might as well just not do anything because you're gonna be scared to death to do anything.
Yeah.
do you realize
So,
every time you get in the car, somebody is driving a missile right at you, and the only thing that keeps them from running directly into you is that somebody painted a yellow line 3 feet in between you? Like, do you understand that somebody
Yeah.
who's texting on their phone is driving a missile directly at you at 60 miles an hour, and somebody did a dotted yellow line, and so, well, I guess I'm safe. Like,
Yeah.
how's that for fear? You should be scared to death of that.
that is absolutely true. It's all about perspective. Oh man, that's good. So, Jared, you also, I'm going to touch on this because I did watch maybe it was last week. I think you posted a podcast, and I want to bring this into this show because I thought it was really good. It was basically the marketing that agents should be doing in 2021. I think it was
Yes, I think
8.
it said like eight. Yes.
Yeah, I know I'm not asking you to do all 8, but just tell us a few of those that were main big keys for 2021 for agents to kind of keep in mind and work towards doing.
All right. So first off, you all should just go listen to it. Like, I put it up on my podcast. We also put it up on my YouTube channel.
Yes.
You guys can go look at them. But, some of it was more like very practical from the perspective that, you look at the fact that places like Chrome and stuff are going to eliminate, what do you call it? Retargeting and such.
The cookies.
Yeah, they're and that's a big thing. Like, for those of you who don't understand, when you go to a site, you accept cookies. That's how good marketers are able to follow you around, and they're able to. But the main thing, so guys, go check out those 8. I get very practical, but the main thing that I would want your people to hear, if I wanted to just say, like, there was one thing they need to understand, it's really something I've been saying for a while, which is that in 2021, the veil between business and personal, it needs to end. One of the things I said in that podcast was, I said, we always talk about how everything is sales, right? Everyone's in sales. A stay-at-home mom is in sales. They're trying to convince that kid why it's in their best interest to do what it is that they want them to do, right? But I think what people don't understand in the world we live in today is that every day, everything you do is also marketing. Because every time you do something as a local realtor, me, when I'm doing what I'm doing, like, I'm a brand, everything I do is people not only looking at me personally, but they're thinking about me professionally, and they're going, and he does that, and would I want to use that service? And he does this good over here, but then he did this over, and they're always doing that because there's no more line between this is business Jared and this is personal Jared. There's no more of that anymore. Like, you got to realize that it's just you. There's no more, I've got a business Instagram profile where I post listings, and then I've got a personal profile where I drink wine, and then there's whatever. Like, no, that is not the world we live in. We can be more connected to people than ever before by actually, in our marketing and in what we do, showing who we actually are in all the areas, right?
Yes.
And so that to me is a major takeaway, But as far as like the very practical, this change, that change, this is what's happening in digital marketing, that's what I would tell them. Go listen to the podcast, take notes. We also put it up on YouTube. There's some very practical stuff.
I'll put a link. I'll put a link in the description
Yeah.
as well, and a card. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And you do a lot of that. I follow you on Instagram, and I mean, you can see Jared walking through the airport at 4 a.m. on his way to his next event, and with his coffee.
That's it. And then you'll see me coaching my kids' soccer team. Like,
yeah,
that's right.
It's just real. Like that is in today's world. That is the ultimate advantage. Is that people have the ability to connect on all those levels, because when people connect on you on that level, now you're more than just someone who can open the door for them at a showing. You are Billy, the agent, but also the husband, father, sister, this, that, whatever that happens to be in real estate and support their family this way. And now they're actually connected to you, right? And when you don't do that, you're losing the potential for that connection that would never allow them to go to a third-party app or site or whatever and steal them from you, because you're not doing the things that actually connects them to you, right? You're trying to be so professional and show them guys, I hate to say it, they don't care about your next open house. Like, they don't care about your last listing, like, great, whatever, but they're not going online hoping it shows up. But when they see something about you personally, I mean, that's why reality shows win. Like, we think they're boring. People keep watching, They
do.
It's people's lives. We're interested in
They're connecting.
Stuff. Yeah.
Well, I want to be respectful of your time, Jared. And we've got a question here for you. Stepan says, Jared, doesn't a TC disrupt the agent-client relationship, the transaction coordinator?
Disrupt. That makes the relationship. That is like, it makes you look professional. It saves you on average 8 hours per transaction. And quite frankly, what makes someone great at being an agent is what makes them suck at managing a transaction. They're two completely different personality profiles. Okay. Like, literally two unless you're schizophrenic, there's no way you're doing both of them great. Okay. And again, you get a great TC, they make you look professional, because everything's being like our TCs, for example, when you look at contract to close, they have 62 steps they follow. So our average agent, when they step in and they create their custom workflow with their TC, is looking at our workflow and they're going, holy crap, you do that, you do that, you do that. I don't do any of that for my clients. And so rather than waiting for you to slow down so that you can give your client a good experience, they should have the same experience every single time.
Absolutely.
Right?
Consistency.
And you're not going to beat all these other places who, again, are Amazoning the real estate industry by continuing to try to hustle harder and do everything yourself. It doesn't. And the beauty of a TC is there's no risk. You pay when they close. You don't pay when you don't close. When you're busy and you're doing a bunch of transactions, you pay more because there's more closings. When you're slow and there's no transactions, you pay nothing. But on average, 8 hours per transaction, per file you save, that you can use to create more business, shake more hands, kiss more babies, whatever, or just relax,
Yeah, that's good.
Look, you run a business.
It goes back. It goes back to what you were saying previously, right? You were talking about after the transaction, right? It's like, that's when you begin to build a relationship, because we all have read the statistics. It's the moment you close a property and the agent gets the check, it's like they never hear back from you again. So if you want to go to the next level, and you want to have that referral business that actually gives you longevity and a legacy and a business you can sell later down the road, that's it. It's that
average lifetime value of the client, $117,000, right?
Yeah, it's insane.
$117,000. And so where is the majority of that $117,000? Is it on the left side of the transaction, that one deal, or is it on the right side of the transaction post-close? Okay.
There you go.
And yet, where are we putting all our energy? On the left side. We need to start focusing on the right side. Okay, that's where all the money is.
Yeah, that's you've nailed it. That's exactly right. That's what we play for.
And I've heard you speak on this before, Jared, and you talk about, why are you wasting your time doing things that aren't making you money, that aren't helping you build your relationships? Let someone else do those.
Hey, whether you're on this and you do 150 transactions, or you're on here and you do 10 transactions, you're probably working the same number of hours. It's just like, we're all busy. It's just a matter of how do you scale your business. And that's why I said, you either run a business or you run around. You are not going to run a business by thinking that a TC is going to somehow mess up the transaction. Like, that's step one. They make the transaction. Like, they make you look better. They make more referrals come. They allow you to do more things. I mean, it's you shouldn't be doing everything. That's not a business.
That's right. That's
a hobby. You know, if you can't
That's
go on
that's
vacation,
absolutely
if
true.
you can't retire, if you can't get sick and your business still runs, you don't have a career. You have a hobby.
That's right. Couple comments for you. Gene Epperson says, "Hi, Jared."
Hey, how you doing?
Terry Woodward says, "All my first job paid me $1.30."
Wow.
Oh, that's wow. Emily Hacker says, "This is good, very good." Stacy
Thank you.
Kelly, "This is awesome."
That's awesome.
So, Jared, thank you so much. And
No problem.
I'm gonna bring up on the screen some of the ways that people can get in contact with you, and we'll go over those. But I definitely want to say thank you so much for giving us the time to come on the show.
Of course.
You know, value what you do and what you're doing for the agents and business people in general. Much appreciated.
Hey, I love it,
Great
man.
seeing you.
I appreciate it so much. Love to see 21 Brand. You guys know that. For all of you watching, I got to run, but if you just go to connectwithjared.com, I make it really easy. Connectwithjared.com. Connect on Instagram, Facebook, all these different places. But send me a DM anytime, direct message. I answer all the questions. You got a business question, you just want to say hi, go for it. It's one of the things that I still set aside time to do because I think it matters. And that's really what I'm here for, guys. I'm here to help you. And so I try to find as many ways possible to do that. So thanks for having me on, guys. I really appreciate it. And hopefully we'll do it again at some point.
Jared, thank you.
you.
Appreciate you.
Thanks, guys.
Take care.
I'll see you.
See ya. That was good. Here is some information about Jared. If you guys want to connect with him, you can get in contact. He did say connectwithjared.com, which has a list of every single one of these contacts on there. But just for the sake of, if you're on your mobile device right now, feel free to go to those sites and follow him, subscribe. I tell you what, he's got a great podcast and a very good YouTube channel. So
Yeah.
encourage you guys to check that out.
Lots of coaching tips from him, lots of business tips. They're great.
They are. They really, really are.